Everyone, before we jump into this amazing episode, this episode is sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Whether you're studying, hanging out, or recording your first podcast, it's always Coca-Cola season. Right now, it's the real thing.
Open happiness, open a Coke.
Grab yours today at your local 7-Eleven, now 25% off for a limited time.
Welcome back to Define the Unsurvivable, the podcast where we talk about real people who face the impossible and survive. I'm Rebecca, your host.
And I'm Lola. I'll be helping tell the story today. I'm your guide through everything.
A content warning before we begin, this episode includes graphic descriptions of violence and trauma.
Listener discretion is strongly advised.
Today's episode is really special and also very serious. This episode is about bravery, strength, and never giving up. We have an incredible guest joining us, someone who survived something truly unbelievable. She's strong, inspiring, and she's here to share her story with us. Please welcome Alison Botha.
Hey Rebecca, and hey everyone. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here and share my story with you.
We're so excited to have you here, Alison. Your story is one of the most powerful we've ever heard, and we can't wait to learn more about your journey. So, how about we start from the beginning before everything happened? What was life like for you?
Well, I was 27 years old, living in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. Life was pretty normal. I worked, spent time with my friends, and I loved the ocean. It was just everyday life, you know. I never imagined so horrible could happen.
December 18 started as a normal day for Alison. She was hanging out with her friends. Later in the day, she just dropped off a friend and parked her car outside her apartment, but suddenly, a man with a knife forced his way in.
Did you know him personally? What was he like? Who was he to you? Someone close, a friend, or just a familiar face? I'm really curious to understand more about who he was and what kind of impact he had on your life.
His name was Francis Fox, but he first told me his name is Clinton, which wasn't true. He made me drive to a quiet spot, and then we picked up another man, Theus Kruger. I was terrified. I kept telling myself, just stay calm, don't fight back, just do what they say. I couldn't believe this was actually happening to me.
These two men committed one of the most horrific crimes in South African history. They attacked Alison multiple times. When she was still breathing, they stabbed her in the abdomen over 30 times. Even after that, they noticed she was still alive, so they cut her throat 16 times, leaving her almost unalived. Believing she was deceased, they left her alone in the bushes and fled.
She wasn't. Somehow she wasn't. Honestly, it's hard to even understand how you made it through that. What happened to you was beyond terrifying, and most people wouldn't have survived. The fact that you stayed calm, kept fighting, and found the strength to move to keep going, that's just incredible. It really shows how powerful the will to live can be.
After the attack, I remember waking up in the bushes. I was barely alive, but something inside me said, don't give up. I didn't want them to get away with it. So I managed to write one of the names in sand and a message for my mom, saying I love you. Then I saw headlights in the distance. Even though I could barely move, I had to try. My head was hanging off of my head, so I used one hand to hold my neck closed and the other to keep my intestines in with my jacket. I don't even know how, but I started crawling towards the road, hoping someone would find me.
That's when Tian Elard, a veterinary student, found her in the street. Using his medical knowledge, he carefully placed her thyroid back, which helped her survive. Then he called for help. Doctors were amazed she was still alive.
They said her windpipe and arteries were missed by just millimeters. That's barely anything, just a tiny bit deeper, and things could have gone completely different. It's honestly terrifying to think how close it was. Something as small as a few millimeters, that tiny space, was the difference between life and departing from the world. It really makes you realize how fragile life can be, but also how strong the human body and spirit are when it matters most.
It really is. One of the surgeons said it's a miracle you're alive, and I believe that. But I also think I made a choice. I chose to fight, just knowing I was worth getting up for it. I couldn't die like this, not at their hands. So there were a lot of elements there, but I remember that was when I thought I have to get up, and from that moment of getting up, well, you know, it wasn't easy, but I didn't want to die after that.
That kind of strength, it's honestly incredible to survive something so traumatic and speak about it with such courage. What were you like before all of this? How did you think it changed you?
I was just a regular person. I liked going out with friends, being silly, and laughing a lot. Honestly, I never thought my name would be known for something like this.
Alison went through surgeries, pain, and long recovery, but she didn't stop. She told her story in court and helped put the attackers in prison for life.
That's insanely brave. I honestly can't even begin to imagine how difficult it must have been to face them again after everything you went through. It takes an extraordinary amount of strength and courage to not only survive something like that, but to stand in front of them, look them in the eye, and tell your story out loud. That kind of bravery is truly inspiring. It shows just how powerful and resilient you are.
It was really hard. Walking into that courtroom and seeing them again, it took everything in me. But I had to. I didn't want them to hurt anyone else. I needed to take my power back. I wanted people to know I'm not just a victim, I'm a survivor.
Her story is more than just what happened. It's about how she stayed strong when everything felt impossible. It also connects to bigger issues like gender-based violence and women's safety. Yeah, even today, people around the world are still fighting for safety and respect. Alison's story reminds us how important that is. This isn't just history, it's something that affects people right now.
I could survive something like that. I really believe other people can survive their struggles too. Now I talk to people all over the world and I try to remind them they're stronger than they think and they're not alone.
Alison's story is more than a survival story. It's a message of hope, strength, and healing. And after everything she went through, she found a new way to see the world.
Never drive in a car without locking the doors. I'll never again watch a film without marveling at every camera angle and the lighting and knowing how many people are in the room watching the person voice her thoughts. I'll never again stop myself from crying when I feel the need. And I'll never again see a butterfly without taking it as a sign just for me.
That quote gives me goosebumps. It shows how even after something so horrible, you can still find meaning, beauty, and strength in small things. It's like the world looks different when you fought that hard to still be here.
It's true, the little things matter so much more now. Every smile, every hug, every sunrise. It just all feels like a second chance. And I don't take any of it for granted.
Totally, Alison. You're such an inspiration. Before we end, here's a question for our awesome listeners. What do you think helped Alison stay alive that night? Was it her mind, her body, her hope, or all of them together?
Take a second to think about it. What would you do if you're in a situation where you had to fight to live? As we come to the end of today's episode, we reflect on the powerful story of Alison Botha, a woman who showed the world what true courage looks like. Her journey is one of the unimaginable pain, but also of extraordinary strength and hope. We explored how she faced her darkest moment and chose not to let it define her. Instead, she rose above it, transforming from a victim into a survivor, and ultimately into a global speaker who continues to inspire people everywhere with her message of resilience and empowerment. Alison's story is a reminder that even in the face of darkness, light can still break through.
To wrap up this powerful episode, we just want to say a huge thanks to all of you listening. We also want to thank our amazing guest, Alison Botha, for sharing her story. It takes a lot of courage to talk about something so hard, and her voice really helps people understand the importance of never giving up.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope my story helps others stay strong and believe in themselves. And if you're going through something, please know it gets better.
If today's episode made you think or feel something, check out more of our podcast. We'll keep sharing important stories that matter.
And don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram at Defying the Unsurvivable for cool updates, behind-the-scenes clips, and chances to share your thoughts.
Thanks again for being here. Until next time, stay cautious, stay inspired, and keep listening to the stories that shape our world. See you next time.